A young man with a sword goes against an entire army. Will he survive? Let's find out today on Story Recaps. We will be covering the first 4 episodes of the series Berserk. The series opens up with a swordsmith beating a hot metal to make it a long and deadly sword. On the other side, a young man, and the main character, Guts, is waiting for his sword to get ready. After a while, he carries it on his back and walks toward the city called Midland. The scene then shifts to a local bar, where one of the customers asks the bartender if he has any special news about Midland. The customer also mentions that after Griffith became the head of their state, they started facing a lot of troubles. In the meantime, a group of Griffith's soldiers arrive and start disrespecting a little girl present there. The men order the girl to pour wine into their glasses and also force her to lick from the table after she mistakenly spills a little. Seeing this, the little girl's grandfather arrives there and asks the soldiers to leave his granddaughter alone, but they do not listen. They rather beat him up and throw him on the ground. Moments later, Guts arrives there and shoots arrows at Griffith's men, injuring most of them. He then attacks the leader and tells him to inform his master about the return of the Black Swordsmith. Meanwhile, when one of the injured soldiers tries to attack Guts, he takes out his sword and chops the soldier from the middle. In the next scene, the leader of the injured soldiers group approaches his master and informs him about the return of Black Swordsmith. In turn, the master informs their lord about the issue, and the latter mentions that he has been waiting for Guts for a long time. He then orders his men to annihilate the people of the city so that Guts can be lured out. The master tries his best to stop the lord from doing so, but he does not listen. In no time, his men burn the whole city, compelling Guts to confront them. Following this, the Lord and Guts get involved in a one-on-one fight. When Guts succeeds in pushing away the Lord and landing a few punches on him, Lord transforms himself into a giant, a mysterious, evil creature. However, before he can cause any damage, Guts lifts his left hand, which is only up to his forearm, and cleverly shoots a cannon-like bomb. This kills the evil Lord once and for all. After the victory, he picks a locket from the Lord's neck and walks away from there. The scene then flashes back in time where Batsuzo, a fully armored warrior, is trying to save his state from the enemy's army. The leader of the enemy announces to his men that whoever will fight Batsuzo and defeat him will get a handsome amount of money. Hearing this, young Guts steps in front and amazes everyone. He fights with Batsuzo valiantly and manages to kill him. Griffith, the ambitious and charismatic leader of a mercenary group called the Band of the Hawk, also can be seen observing everything. Meanwhile, the leader of the enemy army approaches Guts, asks him to join his army, and also tries to lure him by offering money. However, Guts refuses his proposal and simply leaves with the prize amount. While Guts is walking to his next destination with the money, one of Griffith's men, Corcus, notices him and suggests to his friends that they loot Guts. Casca, a female member of Griffith's army, tries to stop Corcus, but he does not listen and goes to attack Guts with some of his friends. Soon, the group approaches Guts, but the young man takes out his sword and immediately kills 2 of their members. He then proceeds to finish off Corcus, but Casca arrives there and shoots Guts with an arrow. Despite this, Guts attacks her and makes her fall from her horse. Right then, Griffith intervenes in the fight and Guts marches towards him. With just a subtle block, Griffith stops Guts' attack and also manages to slash him beside the chest, making him unconscious. During his deep sleep, Guts gets a vision of himself running and asking for help from an elderly man, Gambino. Gambino replies that he is already dead in his life and turns back. After some time, Guts gains back his consciousness and gets to know that Casca patched up his wound. Just then, Griffith confronts Guts and requests him to join his group as he seems impressed by his courage and skills. He also informs Guts that they are members of the mercenary group, the Band of the Hawks. Guts immediately refuses the proposal and instead challenges Griffith for a fight. This time, both of them put forth their conditions. Guts states that if he wins, he wants to wound Griffith at the same place where he got wounded, while Griffith mentions that if he wins, he will make Guts do whatever he likes. After both of them agree to the conditions, they start fighting. Guts marches forward to land his first blow, but sadly, Griffith stops it with ease and makes small slashes in his body. Soon, Guts realizes that he cannot win fair and square, so he tries to throw some dust in Griffith's eyes. This too has no effect on Griffith, and he steps onto Guts' sword. Eventually, Griffith gains an upper hand and defeats Guts by dislocating his shoulder. Before leaving, he holds Guts' face in his hands and announces to his group that from now on, Guts will fight for them. While everyone is excited by the news, Casca seems disappointed and simply walks away. In the next scene, some people who work for the king can be seen talking about the Band of Hawks. They mention that they feel lucky to have the group on their side, but they also fear that the group will come to power if they win the king's trust and have the local people's backing. Meanwhile, Corcus gathers some of his group's men and plans to kill Guts. Fortunately, Casca overhears them and suggests Corcus stay back. Following this, Griffith makes his army of 20,000 men ready to fight against the enemies of the kingdom. It's nighttime, and despite the ruler trying to stop them, they have already made up their mind to go into the battle. After reaching the enemy's area, Griffith and his army destroy their whole camping tent and return from there. Unfortunately, while the group is returning, Guts is attacked by a group of enemies. As he struggles to defend himself, Griffith arrives there and rescues him on his horse. They then escape from there, with the enemies following them closely. After a bit of chase, Griffith and Guts arrive at Midland. His soldiers are ready for combat, and soon they fire some cannons and instantly eliminate the enemies. After the win, the Hawks enjoy the night, partying. At first, Guts can be seen sitting alone, but later, a few of his comrades approach him and forcefully bring him down to celebrate the party. The following morning, due to the party effect, all other members of the group are lying on the floor unconscious, while Guts can be seen sitting alongside Judo, a trustworthy member of Griffith's army. Guts inquires with him about why they follow Griffith and obey his orders. In reply, Judo tells him that Griffith is the best of them all, and he cares for all his people. He further mentions that without Griffith, their whole group would lack unity and purpose. While the two are conversing, Casca arrives there and informs Guts that he is being called. Following this, Guts goes to Griffith and finds him taking a bath. Griffith also asks Guts to join him and throws a bucket of water in his face. While they throw water at each other, Griffith shows Guts a locket that he's wearing. He also mentions that the locket is called the Egg of the King, and whoever has the locket has the potential to rule over the whole kingdom. Griffith then reveals that his dream is to have a kingdom of his own. The scene then shifts to the next battle, where Griffith orders his army to attack. While marching forward, Guts remembers his past about how Gambino gave him sword lessons. In the past, it is mentioned that Guts was found by Gambino's wife under a tree, and since then, she looked after him. After a few years, Gambino takes Guts to a real battlefield and asks him to fight bravely. Unfortunately, Guts is attacked by an enemy soldier from the back, but Gambino saves him by eliminating the enemy. At the same time, a cannonball falls near Gambino, and he gets severely injured. Because of this, he starts hating Guts, blaming him for his condition. Later at night, Gambino tries to attack Guts and kill him, accusing him of the death of his wife, who died a few years ago. Guts tries to defend himself, and while doing so, he accidentally stabs Gambino in his chest, killing him. Soon, other soldiers arrive, and when they notice that Guts has killed Gambino, they start chasing him. Guts manages to escape from there on a horse, but the soldiers follow him and shoot an arrow into his back. Injured, he falls from the horse and later gets attacked by a pack of wolves. Fortunately, he uses the last of his strength to kill the wolves with his sword and walks out alive. Back to the present, Guts can be seen fighting in the battlefield for Griffith. After they win the battle, Griffith talks with Guts alone and mentions that he is greatly impressed by his skills. Later, Guts also gets promoted to the commander of the Band of the Hawks, despite having only 2 weeks of experience with them. In the following scene, the kingdom that the Band of Hawks is battling for gets attacked by a powerful mercenary group called Black Devils. Surprisingly, Guts can be seen standing alone in front of the marching enemies. The Black Devils do not take him seriously, and as a result, Guts kills a few of their soldiers. Enraged, they plan a powerful attack against him, but just then, they notice the Band of Hawks coming towards them, led by Griffith. In no time, the Black Devils are defeated, and Griffith saves the kingdom. After the battle, Casca confronts Guts and yells at him for not following their battle plans and attacking the enemies alone. She also warns Guts that if he continues to do so, he will get their group members killed. Hearing this, Guts apologizes to her and tries to walk away from there. However, an angry Casca tries to attack him and gets her hand grabbed by Guts. In the meantime, Griffith arrives there and tells Casca that he will make Griffith understand his mistake. After Casca leaves, Guts again apologizes to Griffith and also mentions that he too cares for the members of the Band of the Hawks and will never do anything that will get their lives in danger. Following this, due to their excellent service to the kingdom, the ruler of Midland includes the Band of the Hawks into his army and holds a program in their honor. Griffith is then made the leader of the entire army. In the next scene, Griffith briefs his army for their next attack, which is at an enemy's base in Greasels. He proposes a group led by Guts and Casca to attack from the front of the base, while another group enters the base from the back and destroys their supply storage. At Greasels, the commander of the enemy's group, Eden, can be seen ignorant about the fact that someone can attack their base. While he is talking with one of his soldiers, the Band of the Hawks ambushes them, with Guts and Casca leading the attack. Soon, Eden notices them and runs away from there, thinking of an evil plan to kill the Band of the Hawks. He enters the supply base and plans to destroy his base by himself, while the Hawks are still inside. Luckily, Guts notices smoke coming out from the base and stops Griffith and their army from entering. As soon as they retreat, the base explodes, destroying everything inside it. The Band of the Hawks is happy about it, as their main objective is fulfilled, and also none of their group members are hurt. They also thank Guts for his input to save the group. Later, Casca approaches Guts and apologizes for calling him selfish before. On the other hand, Eden approaches his leader, General Bosco, who despises him for his foolish plan of destroying his own base. He also tells him that the Hawks are still alive and are still a great threat to them. Back in the kingdom, the ruler of Midland is waiting for the Hawks to arrive in order to assign a new task to them. While the king is waiting, other army members request him to hand over the task to them. But when the king asks for their assurance to win the battle, everyone remains quiet. Eventually, the king assigns the task to the Band of the Hawks, and the episode ends with them marching for their next battle.